YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here. Gonna be back in Castle Drakenhof, apparently. I don't know what we're fighting in Vampire Lands for. Maybe we're fighting over who gets the leftover blood. I've got some Morgrub's mangy marauders up front here. Figured against Chaos, this could potentially be a useful unit if Chaos brought heavy cavalry. Or if they have an armored unit sooner or later in the Chaos army. And these guys are pretty fast. May struggle to get away from like a Manticore hero or something like that, but I figured that one way or the other, hopefully they could be annoying. And since Chaos doesn't have a lot of or they don't have a lot of missiles, it's usually just in the form of raiding horsemen, I figured I could use these guys with some impunity. I'm playing as Bloody Hand this time rather than the Greenskins, and I probably shouldn't pick the Bloody Hand because they're pretty much the same as the Greenskins. And you can still get Wurrzag, and that was the whole reason I brought this build, is I wanted to use Wurrzag and his Effigy of the Git. I had a previous battle right before this, and I don't remember if it was the same opponent who just absolutely raffle-stomped dancing Wurrzag with a flying goon squad in one charge, because Wurrzag is pretty weak. So this time I've got Wurrzag sitting right in the middle of the Tusk mob, hopefully giving him a little bit of a hit point shield. And he's surrounded. I got the Tusk mob and then the Goblin Big Bosses. I kind of got my guys hopefully protected by all that anti-large and the heavy mass of the Tusk mob. So I don't know if that's really a good deal, but it seems like it would work at helping protect you from getting one-shotted by the Flying Goon Squad. Now, if you can get that Goon Squad on the ground, the Effigy of the Git plus Here We Go, and then on spells, I just have, Wah was the ability. I have Here We Go and Foot of Gork. I'm not going to end up really needing Foot of Gork a whole lot here. I'm probably going to try and use it. But yeah, it's usually best against like cavalry. My opponent's got an interesting army here. He's got a unit of Dragon Ogres, which is kind of an odd pick versus Greenskins in my opinion, but who knows. He's got a Forsaken on each flank. I like that. Forsaken are a good flanking unit. His main line is Chaos Warriors with great weapons. Should be decent units against the Greenskins. The Greenskins are kind of hard to predict in the sense that they can bring Black Orcs, like I have. Yeah, I've got 2 Black Orcs up front. I brought these guys because, again, just like all of you, I frequently get attacked by Flying Goon Squads. And Black Orcs don't have anti-large, but they are armor-piercing. And the biggest thing is they're immune to psychology. And that's one of the most frustrating things about Flying Goon Squads, is that they typically have terror when they're from the Empire. Chaos, Chaos, Vampires probably would too if they decided to do it to you, but I haven't seen a lot of Vampire Goon Squads recently. But in any case, yeah, Empire and Chaos can both hit you with a lot of units that induce terror, and it's really, really dangerous for you as Greenskins. Now right here, I've been harassing him, and he makes a pretty nice play here with these Warhounds. I just don't like Warhounds as a unit. They're just not worth it. Here they're going to try and catch my mangy marauders, and they're fast, and on a charge, you know, they'll be able to do it, but they do so very little damage. And then you see they just get lured in, and I'm going to be easily able to just force them back out. So even where you would think they might be kind of useful, they're not particularly useful. We'll see how well I micro, though. I don't know why I bring skirmish units, because my inability to micro is not real good. Now, I should have moved forward a little bit, too. I'm on the back side of this hill, where my opponent's going to be getting downhill engagements for the most part. I shouldn't have allowed this to happen. It's not terribly bad right here, but it's not great. So be aware of your surroundings. My opponent looks like he wants to attack me, so I'm just trying to take up a position at which I can best resist him. I see his Forsaken out here, and I line up some squigs to help take out his Forsaken. And here he's just charging in his Warhounds, and my squigs are more than happy to eat some Warhounds. And they will do so easily. Warhounds are just a trash unit. They're not even very good at taking out skirmishers, unless they're very weak skirmishers. And their leadership is so bad, that's part of the reason why they're so bad at it. Now over here, I get a little bit stupid with my micromanagement. I clicked an attack order here, and I didn't leave the skirmish on, so I'm going to get caught by these Forsaken, but these Forsaken get hammered by Squigs and then Biggins. The Dragon Ogres come straight in, supported by some Chaos with great weapons against my Black Orcs, but I'm going to bring Wurrzag and a bunch of support in on this flank. And I bring a lot of anti-large here to hope to chew down the Dragon Ogres quickly, and I'm going to kind of sacrifice this other flank while I focus down over here on the Dragon Ogres and the Chaos. So that's kind of my aim at the moment. His Forsaken eat through my Squigs really fast because I didn't get a charge, but he leaves my Mangy Marauders just sitting here. There comes the Foot of Gork. Not as effective versus infantry as it would be against cavalry, but it does some damage. it does do a little bit of damage. He gets a nice lightning shot in there with Kolek to pay me back. You can see that over here, you know, I damage some of his units. His Chaos Spawn get pretty wrecked there, probably from the Foot of Gork. I'm not sure, though, but on this side, my little blob over here, it's an intentional blob. It's not the best use of my troops here. I probably should have had my cavalry be a little bit more free, because they took a lot of damage up in this fight without dishing that much damage. But again, I was so worried about Wurrzag, I just kept him in there with him. I haven't used, I think I used Effigy of the Git once, and I'm letting it recharge. He's got a Death Sorcerer here too, which is not a bad plan if he's able to get some damage done to Wurrzag. He does have Soul Blight, Aspect of Dread Knight, and he's using the Aspect of Dread Knight right now, and this is precisely why I brought in, but he used it over here, which is weird. That wasn't the best place to use it, because that's where my black works were at. I get my guys free over here, but then I get caught by Forsaken, so this was a dumb play over here. I'm not using my cavalry real well so far, which is unfortunate, but the fight's going okay for me. These biggins get engaged with the Chaos Warriors with great weapons. I'm going to get some assistance from the Squig Herd, which will actually probably help tilt that. And here comes Kolek Suneater into my big blob. I'm getting close to having my Effigy of the Git, and I'm going to attack Kolek with all this extra mass and anti-large from my Boar Boys. He puts Soul Blight on me right here, which could be dangerous for me, but since Wurrzag's present, it'll help my guys stay in the fight. Soul Blight can otherwise be pretty nasty. I've used my Potion of Toughness on one of my Goblin Big Bosses. You can see here, getting in a blob-up fight like this with Wurrzag can be dangerous. I've got Wah in right now, and you can see it's going to cause all kinds of extra damage to the Chaos units here. Another Lightning Strike coming in here. It's actually right on top of Kolek, but it doesn't look like it got him too bad. Did some damage to my guys, though. The Tusk Mob's about to crap out. So it kind of turns into a blob fight, and Kolek starts running away, but I'm going to hit Kolek with the Effigy of the Git right here, and it's going to stick him right in place, and then I chase him with all my units. And I'm going to use, I think I used, I tried to use an Here We Go or something if it was available, but it wasn't. Anyway, Kolek bites the dust right there. So that makes a big difference. I was able to take out Kolek, and then from here on out, my heroes combined with what's left of my Black Orcs and Squigs and other things. And the Squigs have anti-armor. They're kind of nice for me up in this blob. You can see that all these units kind of help protect Wurrzag a little bit. And then my cavalry kind of running in and getting some charges in as well. And then I just continually use all the buffs that I can get from Wurrzag. Look at him going to town here in this fight. He's a really cool looking unit. He is not real beefy compared to some of the Greenskin Lords, but he provides some substantial support if you can keep him alive. He can give some massive support to your troops because of the lore of the Big Wah, and then the Effigy to Git. He has the Wah ability, so I mean, this guy can impart some pretty serious buffs. Foot of Gork is really good for stomping out enemy cavalry if it gets blobbed up. So he has a lot of capabilities that he can use to help out his guys, but most of my infantry is dead at this point. Some of them are going to come back from routing, but Wurrzag is going to be in here helping to tank it out against what's left of the Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and then my Goblin Big Bosses are also in this fight. They imbue poison here, which is going to be really helpful for me. It's going to keep the attack of the Chaos Warriors rather limited. You can see back here that he charges some of his Marauder Horsemen into some regrouped Black Orcs. That's not going to be enough to stop me. And then here comes some regrouped Greenskins as well. Coming back into the fight, you see some of my Boar Boys come back into the fight, or I thought they did. No, okay, I'm just seeing things. I don't think I have any Boar Boys back in the fight. Take a look at the overhead situation. Okay, that was it. So it was a Pyrrhic victory for me. Not a beautiful victory by any means. So just let me give you a couple of tips if you're hoping to use that Effigy to Git strategy. You'll notice in that battle that I deployed it way back in the corner of my map. Not my favorite thing to do because I'm not a big fan of trying to make my opponent walk across the map. But when you start a battle, Effigy of the Git has a 135-second cooldown time, so you need to give yourself some space. The worst case scenario that you can have happen in a Wurrzag army is that you get yourself character sniped early in the battle and you lose the lore of the Big Wah, you lose the Wah buff, you lose the leadership buffs, and you lose the Effigy to Git. And if you play your cards right and you can get 2 Effigy to Gits in during a battle, it can be a huge deal. Wurrzag is vulnerable to like being one-shotted by a 3-man or 2-man flying goon squad. So you got to really watch out for that. That's why I kept him in the middle of that cavalry, so that if they came swooping in, hopefully some of their damage would be deflected into those units and that they would get stuck on the ground. And if they get stuck on the ground even for just a second and you have effigy to get ready, you can use it on their lord, and then you pop Wah and you just absolutely mob their lord with everything you've got, and basically just throw all in. And that's one way that you can take those guys out. So appreciate the good game from my opponent. It was fun. It was a close battle. In the end, the biggest reason why I wasn't able to finish this is he just didn't really have the tools to be able to take out my goblin big bosses, and that's kind of a big deal. These guys imbue poison. They imbue leadership bonuses to the guys who are around them. I did misuse my cavalry pretty heavily, all of them, including the mangy marauders, which was unfortunate. The only thing I didn't misuse about them was protecting Wurrzag, but as I went into those early fights with Wurrzag and a flying hit squad wasn't a threat, I should have separated the cavalry from Wurrzag and started working around the flanks, and I could have made this battle end a lot quicker by potentially doing something like that. The squig herds, I used one of the squig herds right off the bat, destroyed that Forsaken with some help. Both of them ended up doing okay in the end because one of them came back from routing. So, I mean, getting this many kills out of a squig herd is typically worth it, especially this one picks up 2 XP during the course of the battle. So, or actually it may have had an experience point going in, I don't remember. But one way or the other, it did pretty well. Like I said, appreciate you joining. Hope you enjoyed this. I love making content for you. Want to appreciate MSI for sponsoring this build that I'm recording with. Appreciate them helping me record high-quality content for you. Appreciate all of you who are commenting, liking, subscribing. Those of you who are supporting me on Patreon, thank you. You're amazing. That money goes to help me put together computers and have all the equipment. I do have plans as I continue to be supported by you on Patreon. I'm hoping that your funding can maybe help me get into Ultra HD videos, but that's just kind of a plan here. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make that happen just yet, but I'm holding on to that support that you all send in so that I can maybe make moves like that, and then otherwise, like I said, it helps me pay for internet and software licenses and other stuff that I need to help keep this running. So very much appreciate your support, and obviously I'm thinking about how to use that to better the viewing experience for you, because I love this, and you're amazing. So thank you. I will see you soon. HeirofCarthage, signing out.